Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Kim's Slice of Life. Today I'm going to be bringing you a spoiler-free review on the book What Alice Forgot by Leanne Moriarty. I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing that last name right, but I'm really horrible at pronouncing names. So I read this book or listened to this book in the Audible app. And typically I listen to audiobooks through to and from my commute to work. And I just finished this book last week. And again, this is a spoiler-free review on that book. So let's get right into it. What is this book about? This book is typically an adult fiction, and it is about a 39-year-old woman who is Alice, who was at a spin class and fell and bumped her head, and suffered through a 10-year memory loss after that incident. So she thinks it's 1998, but it's really 2008. She thinks she's 29, but she's really 39. So this book is basically about her 29-year-old mindset trying to grasp and catch up with the last 10 years of her life, which has basically turned like a 180 from where she was back in 1998. So she is trying to catch up to the events that lead on to her being 39, and she's trying to figure out how she got to where she is now in 2008. Everything has completely changed. Her demeanor, the way she dresses, she wears makeup, it's just, she does not know who she has become, and it's completely a shock to her, because it's not something that she would even fathom at the age of 29. So not only has she changed, but the people that she knows has also changed. Her sister Elizabeth changed, and she has also a perspective in this book, or point of view, but it's written through letters to her psychologist. Her husband, she finds out in 2008 that she is separating from and filing a divorce from, which is completely of a shock, because in 1998 they were having such a great relationship, and she is throughout this book just trying to realize, or trying to figure out, how things got so bad and why they got so bad. So let's talk a little about, there's a lot of characters in this book, but I'm going to go into the characters that are mentioned most in the book. So Alice, we spoke about her, again, she is now 39, but she thinks she's 29. And she, in 1998, so I will compare and contrast. So in 1998, she was very laid back. She was comical. She hates the gym. She hated makeup. She was pregnant with Nick, who she married and was happily married to. Pregnant with her first child. She was kind of a shy person. She didn't really like confrontation. She didn't like to really voice her opinion. And now the 2008 version of her, so 10 years later, at the age of 39, it's the complete opposite. She loves the gym. She got hurt in a spinning class. She had 3 children already. She was separated from Nick and on the verge of a divorce. She was highly involved in his life in the school. She wore makeup. She wore really rich clothing. They bought a big house, and it was so opulent, and they had a pool. She drank wine. It was just very sophisticated, snotty. She voiced her opinion too much. And she was just always busy. And they say this in the book, busy, busy, busy. And then we have Alice's sister named Elizabeth. And as before mentioned, she's writing her point of view of this story through letters to her psychologist. She deals with a personal issue of fertility in the book, and you'll see how that ties in to her relationship with her sister Alice. The way she's changed was, again, the complete opposite. When in 1998, when she was 10 years younger, Alice always saw her as the controlling sister, the sister who, had her ducks in line, the sister who was in shape, who was beautiful, who cared about her appearance, who was very educated, was very outspoken, very assertive, and just, a role model to who you wanted to be when you grew up, And in 2008, Alice saw that she was a complete opposite. She got fatter, she got older, she was bitter, she was always tired, she was mean. She didn't have the same relationship with Alice as she did 10 years ago, which you will start to realize why in the story as you read it. And then now there's Nick, and he is Alice's husband. And when Alice reached out to him after she had her head injury and lost 10 years of her memory, it was shocking to see that he couldn't stand the sight of her. He was very mean to her, he cursed at her, and he was very resentful towards her, just completely opposite to what they were when they were happily married 10 years ago. Now Gina is this mysterious character who you start to get to know her backstory and how it ties in with Alice and the influence that this person has had with Alice for the past 10 years. And you start to realize who this person is, and she slowly unravels herself, because again, Alice does not remember who this woman is. Everybody else knows who Gina is, but not Alice, and Alice wants to know, why is she always mentioned? I've never known this woman, or and then there's a Francesca, or Franny, who is Alice's grandma, and this story is also told through her perspective, but not in the same light as Alice. Her narration in the story is through love letters to her loved one, and then you also see how she changes a bit too throughout the story. In a nutshell, I love this story. It was a very pleasing experience to listen through it. I liked the book because the way it was read and written was, Alice, I felt like she was just like me and just like anybody else, where, thoughts in your head don't, always go in a straight line in the tunnel version. They're kind of scattered, and especially when you're so confused, you have this in mind, that in mind. And in the beginning of the story, I can tell you this, that, she just starts randomly thinking of cream cheese, and then she's like, cream cheese, is it really a cheese? And it's just like, she kind of goes off in tangents a lot, and that's just how I think most of the time. And then I get, sidetracked for like 10 minutes. Like, yeah, I should be doing this, but I'm thinking about this for 10 minutes. So it was very appealing to me to see that Leanne could write these thoughts without really confusing someone, because they were still sort of relevant. And there were parts where I thought something while I was listening, and then later on Alice thought the same thing, and it was pretty funny. And there were some certain things that were very comical. It wasn't like a very serious story. It's a little bit of romance. There's a lot of sad parts. There's a lot of shocking parts. It just kept me intrigued throughout the whole book. I highly recommend this adult fiction. I like the fluidity of her writing. I like the concept. I always think, now I always think, what if I lost 10 years of my, where was I 10 years ago? And it's such a life lesson through this book, where, people change and things change. Even 10 years might not sound like a lot, but it is a lot. And experiences mold you to create you as a grown-up or growing up, and you learn things as you go. And this was definitely one of those books that make you realize, like, hey, it's alright to change. I'm babbling on in a tangent again, see? Alright, well, I really enjoyed this book and I highly recommend it. Let me know what you guys think, if you've read this book or if you read other books by Liane Moriarty that you suggest. This is my first book that I read that she's written, and I really enjoyed it. So let me know what you think on the comments down below, and until next time for my next review, happy reading, guys. Bye.